Maybe you got a great deal on your storefront. A little bit of a catch though, not a ton of foot traffic. All right, it's not the best. Maybe you just moved to the area. You don't know a lot of people. You don't have a big network yet. Or maybe you've got a great network, but nobody that you know and nobody that they know needs your product or service, which would be pretty unfortunate. All of those things would make the early stages of your business quite challenging. They would add several issues and several challenges that, you don't need anything extra. It's already hard enough. Good news though, I've got some great news. There is a solution. And that solution we're going to discuss today. That solution is called marketing. I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business owners. Hello, humans. I am your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business. I talk with sales and HR experts, other small business owners, and anyone else that can provide you or me with information to clear our way to success. All right, so we're going to talk about marketing today. So we know that there's a demand for our product. We've already gone through all of the things that we talked about a couple weeks ago. We know there's a demand. We know that the people in our area want the things. But now we just need to capture those people. Maybe that's not a great choice of words. We'll stick with it, I guess. We'll stick with it. We need to capture them, though. So the examples in the intro, obviously, if you're in any of those situations, and there's plenty of other situations, but if you're in one of those situations, it can be easy to kind of blame those for, put the blame on the struggling on those things. It's easy to just say, I'm not doing well because of this, and I'm not doing well because of this. But, and don't get me wrong, all of those things, those are definitely real challenges, like definitely real. But they're not impossible to overcome. I mean, there's plenty of examples of a new person coming to town and just making something that is just the dopest. Some cool restaurant or some whatever. Plenty of examples of that. And there's also plenty of examples of a restaurant or a brewery or something that's just in the middle of nowhere, that's always packed. Again, countless examples. I think we've touched on this in episodes before, but there's plenty of examples of that. In most cases, those businesses have great products or great services, and that is going to be huge. Definitely going to be huge. No question about that. But if people are unaware of your existence, does not matter how great your product is, doesn't matter how great your service is, if nobody knows about you, if nobody knows you exist, it kind of doesn't matter. It kind of just doesn't matter how good everything is. Maybe eventually it's good enough that it catches on, but if you're not putting it out there, if you're not taking the initiative to make people aware of your existence, we're going to be in for some struggles here. So today, let's walk through what ineffective marketing and branding looks like. Let's start there, and then we'll get into how to not be ineffective. Okay, so what is ineffective marketing or branding or branding? All right, so let's start with, if we have failed to successfully communicate why our products or services are better than the competitors, we're ineffective. If we have failed to communicate how our product or service, I'm going to keep saying product or service, but we know, how our product or service solves the customer's problems, or how it moves them towards their desires. If we haven't communicated that, we are not being very effective in our marketing and our branding. Or maybe we've just failed to actually reach our Janice, the target customer for those that are new here. all of those things, or any of those things, can result in a lack of customer awareness. They can result in poor customer engagement, and along with plenty of other things, they will, without a doubt, have a negative impact on your business. And obviously, we don't want that. And that is what we are doing here today. We're going to try to solve those problems. So, what can we do to make sure that we don't fall into those traps? First, I mentioned Janice already. We got to figure out who the hell Janice is. Who is she? We touched on this in the first episode of this series, episode 47, Where are the Customers? But we're going to go back to it because it's important, and it's I'll just cover like the high level here. Who is your product or service for? Who needs your product or service? Like, those are the same thing. Define who that is. Define their pain points. Define, maybe you're not solving a problem, but you're pushing people towards more of the desires or the pleasure. What is that thing? Why are people going to buy it? And who are those people? It's going to be very, very difficult to craft a message to your customers if your customer is everybody in every age bracket that lives anywhere that has an interest in anything. It's going to be very, very challenging to make any message that resonates with all of those people. Very difficult. So we need to define who is our actual target. Let's start there. Define your Janice. Who is she? Okay, so now that we know Janice, we know who she is, we need to kind of create a little brand story, as they call it. I don't love that. I think it sounds not great, but here we are. But we need to communicate what we stand for, who we are, why our customers should choose us. What are the things that make us special? And this story, when we're crafting this thing, it should align with Janice's values, our audience's values. Okay, cool. Next up, we need to build a strong brand identity. Okay. This is your logo. This is not just your logo, though. It's your colors, it's your fonts, it's your vibe, it's the way that you communicate. It's all of those things, and the consistency in those things is super, super important. We want our messaging and the way that we are represented, we want that to be consistent. Think of some of the biggest brands. When you see messaging from them, you know, even without seeing their logo, that it's from them. Nike is a perfect example. You know that when you see that athlete with that bold, all caps, white or black font over top of it, it's probably a message from Nike. It's probably an ad from Nike. We don't need to see the swoosh. We don't need to see Nike. We don't need to see any of that. We know who it is because they have been consistent for however many years. We want everything that we put out into the world to look and feel consistent and cohesive, so that when anything from us comes out, people don't have to see that it's from us to know that it's from us. We want people to recognize us. We want people to remember us when it's time to purchase. Because, if they don't, they're not going to purchase from us. They have to remember us. Okay. Where will we show our consistent branding? Well, this goes back to Janice. Where is she? Where does that group, where does your avatar, your customer, where do they spend their time? Do they consume the radio still? That might sound crazy, but there are a couple industries that I've worked with, a couple customers that I've worked with that kill it on radio ads, which is absolutely it just sounds nuts, but it's a thing. There are customer groups that still are on the radio or still checking out the newspaper every day. Or maybe yours aren't. Maybe they're in social media or YouTube or TikTok, like whatever the thing is, we just got to figure out where they are and what interest do they have. Where else? What are some of the other things that your customers are interested in? Because it's going to help us narrow down when it comes time to spend money on ads or to just spend effort. Where are we going to focus those resources and the effort? It is knowing where our customers are is going to help us to be extremely efficient with our resources. And early on, we need to be extremely efficient with our resources because we probably don't have a ton of resources. We don't have a ton of time because we're working on everything else. We don't have a ton of money because you just started. So we got to be efficient. No need to spend money on a radio ad if your customer isn't listening to the radio. Okay? But we got to figure out where they are. And wherever they are, that's where we will be consistent. So when we are crafting our messaging, the way that we communicate with the world, let's remember that the customer probably doesn't care at all about the features of your product or service. They don't care about it. They just don't care. Like, it's that simple. If your cleaning business just bought a sweet the hottest new vacuum, it can suck up a baseball, they probably don't really care about that. And if you got a new camera that, you check out all the specs and it's all those, from my end, it's like the things that I nerd out about, the customer doesn't care about. They don't care that you can shoot full frame most of the time. I'm speaking kind of broadly here, but in general, your customers don't care about that thing unless it solves a pain point or pushes them towards, like I said, it's either pain or desire. If it's pushing them in one of those directions, that's what they care about. So the features don't get us to that. It's the benefit that our product or service provides to them that they care about. So we just have to focus on that when we're talking to our customers and potential customers. Our messaging should focus on those things, not the features, not the features. They don't care. So back to consistency for a moment. We need to have consistent messaging, obviously, but we also need to be consistent in our efforts. If Janice spends some time on social media, we need to be there consistently. You can determine whatever that consistently thing means to you, but in general, the goal is to be top of mind whenever it's time for them to make their decision to make a purchase. They might not be ready to make a purchase the first 38 times that you pop up in their feed. But the 39th time, maybe now they're starting to think about whatever it is that you offer. They're starting to think about getting a cleaning person. They weren't before, but now they are. And then a couple days later, they remember, oh, wait, I think I'm ready to make this decision, and I've been seeing this old Joe Bob's cleaning service. I've seen them 39 times already, and then you hit them with another one, and bam, you got the sale. So we got to be consistent. Remember, the goal is be top of mind when it is time for them to make a purchase. And when you're using these, any of these platforms, if you're spending money on the ads, that's probably going to be a little bit different, probably going to be a little more salesy, but we'll have an episode all on advertising at some point. But we'll stay on social media for a little bit, and this definitely came up in Lauren's episode. I don't remember the title. That's fine. You guys will find it. But every post isn't a sales pitch. Provide them with value. Make sure or make some informative content. Be a thought leader in your industry. Again, all these buzzwords that are buzzy right now, but they are important. So all of those things, all of that consistency, and it's going to help to build trust with your customers before you even meet them. And it's going to increase the likelihood that they actually remember you when it comes time to purchase. Again, they might not be ready to buy your cleaning service the first time they see you. But the 38th or the 94th time that they see you, maybe now they're in a position that, to make that leap and hire somebody to clean. Another very important piece here, don't forget to keep monitoring all of your efforts. Again, we talked about it a couple minutes ago, like your resources are likely not unlimited. So we need to be efficient in the way that we're spending our time. If something isn't working, now we don't want to, let me finish this and then. If something isn't working, we want to notice it as quickly as possible so that we can adjust. The caveat to that is, have you put in enough time and effort to work through any kinks? Because anytime you're trying anything new, you're not going to be the best at it at the beginning. So once you feel like you've exhausted all of your knowledge and all of your research, and there's nothing else to learn about whatever the platform is or whatever it is. Once that happens, if you're still not seeing the results on that platform, or that whatever, the radio, whatever we're looking at, whatever we're talking about, if you've gotten to that point and you still haven't noticed that it's working, all right, cool, let's make a change. Again, we don't have unlimited resources, so we need to be efficient. Okay. All right. The branding and the marketing is going to be a huge, huge reason that your business succeeds. It could also be a reason that it doesn't go well. All of those examples at the beginning, like, those aren't uncommon. It's not like everybody has a storefront that has super high foot traffic. And if you're just online, if you're just a service provider, and you don't have a storefront, how is anybody going to know you exist if you're not doing these things well? You have to be doing these things well, or nobody knows about you. You might have the best, whatever your service is, you might be the best web designer on the planet. But if nobody knows about you, how are you going to get hired? Another piece that I didn't talk about would be referrals and being willing to ask for those things when you're working with people. Ask who people might know that that might be looking for something similar. I've seen plenty of people that offer referral discounts and some of those kinds of things, and those can work fantastically. That could be an easy way, maybe not easy, but that could be another way to increase the awareness around your product or your service without having to put in a ton of the effort. The problem with relying completely on that is that it's almost completely out of your hands. You're relying on other people talking to other people. Definitely a great thing to do and an easy way to get business, but I wouldn't rely only on that, because at some point the referrals can dry up. So just keep that in mind. Okay. That's marketing. The most basic version. Like, that is, if we need to get started, we need to do these things well. That's all of what this last, I guess this is the third or fourth, I don't know. all of these last few episodes, they've been all of the most common reasons that small businesses fail early on. And we're going to continue knocking these out. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 more of them. So we're going to keep working through these because obviously we don't want to fail. So let's knock out all of the most important reasons. And if we're going to fail, let's not do it because we were lazy or because we didn't put in the effort or whatever. As always, if you need any assistance working through any of this, you need somebody to listen to, just to help you work through whatever it is you're struggling with in the business side of things, reach out, email me, Bradley at clearingthewaypodcast.com. I would be thrilled to help you in whatever way that I can. Hook you up, link you up with anybody that I can to better help you if I can't, but reach out. If you need any help, reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. That would be super helpful. Help me get the information to all of the aspiring and new business owners, small business owners. Leave a review. Those are also super helpful. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and have a marvelous week. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening, watching, wherever you're consuming this. I'm your host, Bradley Martin, and this is Clearing the Way, a resource for small business owners.